Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Hyperbolic Wine Chamber where I train my ability to complain. I'm Tom Oliver and today I'm going to be drinking Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. That is today's wine. It was provided for me by the best guy ever 2 years ago when he came to my house. It's been sitting here ever since and I figured, fuck it. I'm down here. It's right there. Might as well fucking put an end to this Fireball whiskey. As usual, if you'd like to donate to the wine fund to provide wine for the Hyperbolic Wine Chamber, you can do so in the link in the description to my PayPal. If you donate, of course, I will mention your name in the beginning of the show, and we'll give a link to your social media in the description of the podcast. So today, we're going to be talking about being untalented and how much it fucking blows. So, my channel, Rebel Pixels, is kind of all about that idea of being untalented. And trying to scavenge some small amount of success with your lack of ability notwithstanding. God, I'm afraid to have some of this whiskey. It's been sitting here forever. But we're just gonna fucking go for it, my friends. I feel like I'm gonna need some for this. Yep, Yeah, so being untalented is something I'm familiar with. It fucking is not fun. Okay, let me back up for a little bit and let's start with why I'm talking about this to begin with. For the last hour or so, I've been sitting here working on an illustration for a review of the new tablet that I got in from XP Pen. I know, thrilling stuff for anybody who's a PCP regular, fucking tablet reviews. But I'm doing a drawing just kind of to record some footage of how the thing works, so I usually have to sit down and do an illustration, even though I don't really do illustration much anymore. Joke's on me, I suppose, for starting a channel about drawing and then immediately getting out of drawing. So I'm sitting here doing an illustration, and I did the sketch on paper. I always start my illustrations on paper, even though I have all these fucking digital shit. It looked pretty good. I mean, it wasn't like amazing. Nothing I've ever drawn has been amazing. But in terms of like my scale, it looked pretty good. So I brought it in to Manga Studio and started inking it, and now it looks like fucking garbage. And I don't know why. It's a kind of a meme among artists and people who create that sometimes you draw a sketch, it looks pretty dope, and then you try and ink it and it completely falls apart. And it's the worst because you never really quite know why it's happening, and usually the only solution is to scrap your inks and start all over again. But that just kind of like started the whole kind of snowball effect of like, oh, these inks looks like shit. Oh, it's because you're a shitty artist. Oh, it's because you have no talent and blah, blah, blah. It's tough being in the PCP and drawing and not being good because, you know, we got Ben, we got Mage, they're both really good. I'm not so good, and that kind of fucking sucks because it feels like constantly you gotta like prove you have a purpose for being there. And, I don't know. I definitely feel like I'm still struggling to find my niche. Which is weird, because all throughout high school and college and shit, I always figured, like, oh, drawing is absolutely what I wanted to do. I always thought it was kind of laughable that people didn't know what they wanted to do with their lives, or didn't kind of have their thing figured out, because I figured my thing out so early in life, like art, duh, clearly. But that was before the fucking internet, and then you get the internet, and you're like, holy shit, I'm so fucking bad at this thing that I thought I was actually kind of good at. Because, like, this might not make any sense for you young people who grew up with the internet, but back in the day, you only had your immediate surroundings to compare yourself to in terms of ability, relative to your age and your time spent on your craft. And in my tiny little pre-internet bubble, I was doing okay. It was pretty, you know, locally, I live in a small town, so there's like 5 other people who draw. So the fact that I could even draw at all seemed fucking amazing when considered in a vacuum, the personal little vacuum. I said vacuum a lot in the last episode, too. What the fuck? Small aside, I have this weird tendency with my vocabulary to get stuck on certain words for a while. Days, weeks, months. Vacuum seems to be one of the ones I'm using right now. Sucks. But whatever. In this tiny little bubble of where I live, I seemed like I knew what I was doing comparatively, but then you get a high-speed internet connection, you go on DeviantArt, and you realize you're fucking garbage. And despite the effort I've put in, I've been drawing now for, oh my god. I started getting serious in 8th grade, 8th, 9th grade, something like that, freshman year of high school. So that would be 12 years of work, and you would never know it by what I create. To put that into perspective, Ben has been drawing for, I think, 3 or 4 years. I mean, I don't really even need to say anything more than that. It's self-explanatory. So I've constantly I've kind of just had to, like, realize, you know, from, I want to say, like, the middle of high school to today, that I don't have any talent. Looking back at what I've done and where I've been and how far I've come, it's kind of amazing that I can even do what I do now, all things considered, considering how fucking terrible I was. I have a little sister who's 15 right now, and she can draw better than I can today at 15. So it's just like a joke. And then my other sister, who's younger than me but older than that sister, was consistently better than me at drawing growing up. So I've never known what it's like to actually have an ability that actually I seemed like I was proficient at. Because obviously in the PCP, I'd have no drawing skill compared to Ben and Mage. I don't have analysis or video making skill compared to Mumkey or Nate or Digi, or analysis skill compared to Digi, or personality, charisma compared to Jesse and Mumkey. So it's like, what do I do? What do I bring to the table? I was kind of going to save this topic for another time, but I guess we're going straight into it. I feel like in order to be part of something, you need to justify your being there. I don't know what I provide to this group. And that really bothers me because I have this desire, and I think we all do. I think we all have the desire and the want to feel useful, to feel like we're providing something. That's a big reason of why I create things in the first place, is because I feel like the ability to create and make things, whether it be, you know, something as frivolous as art or something as utilitarian as, like, you know, construction or architecture or things like that. The ability to create things is what separates us from other animals, right? Like, we have this ability to, like, be cogniscient and like create tools and express higher thoughts and creativity and stuff like that. So I feel like human beings, we almost have like an obligation to use that. That's to be human, is to express ourselves in some way, to take advantage of our higher cognitive abilities in whatever direction we find most resonant with our personalities, I suppose. All of that's mandatory. And I really, not to get fucking divisive again, but I really hate when people have abilities and squander them, or when they don't ever try and kind of explore some sort of higher is not even the right word, but like embrace their humanity, you know, like do something. Like, so many people are just passive consumers, and it's so easy to fall into because our society is designed to enable passive consumption, because that's kind of what keeps the cogs of everything going. Is, you know, we live in this weird kind of structure where if people stopped buying things for a day, the entire fucking system would just fall apart. You know, it's necessitating constant consumption, which is a whole other, you know, fucking can of worms we could open up in terms of, like, problems. But human beings are capable of more than consumption, you know, because what is it that animals do? Animals consume. That's it. You know, they go around, they look for food, and they fuck, and they try not to die. And that's all an animal does. They're blatant, rampant consumers. And nature kind of has a way of providing checks and balances to make sure nothing kind of gets out of whack. And that's what life really is. Like, if we want to get down to the nitty-gritty of, like the state of nature is, like, consuming and doing your best not to be consumed. So when human beings are given more cognitive tools to do more than merely consume, but then we've created a culture that kind of incentivizes being animals, it's kind of sad. And I'm going way off on a tangent, but I think we all have a responsibility to be more than animals, to take the gifts we've been given as human beings and apply them as effectively as we can in a way that's most complementary to our skill sets. I am trying to do that to the best of my ability, and ever since finding the internet and realizing that I'm not good at drawing like I thought I was as a kid, and realizing that there are so many people better, and that for the amount of time I've put in over a decade of work and not getting anywhere near as far as I should, I've still improved leaps and bounds, but like when you start from such a huge deficit, that's not saying a lot. I'm trying to find something else, and I've been working on that. You know, like the videos were the first thing of like, okay, I guess I'm gonna try making videos because people seem to like these, even though I've never had any interest in it, and that was a huge flop. More whiskey. Oh, fuck. A little bit just got into the cut on my lip. Ow. Okay, whatever. Videos didn't really work out for me. Not my thing. And didn't work out long term. Then I did writing, and I'm still kind of in the midst of writing. Writing seems a bit better, but the problem is, like, with writing, twofold. Problem number one with writing is that not a lot of people care. And I am so bad at real life. I can't hold down a job. I can't work a real job. I can barely get hired for a real job. It's a miracle that I got the fucking security guard job that I got, and it's because I had connections. I never would have been able to land it on my own. I need to be an internet man because I have no other really possible career path at this point. It's this or like die in the streets, and that's it. So I gotta make that work. And writing is very difficult to do that. I've done so much research on like how people make money being authors, other than just like, you know, becoming published and get super fucking successful and famous and shit like that. And like, so it seems to be like you need to create like classes on how to write and how to like get an email list and how to promote your stuff. And like, I could do that. I have the technical ability to do that. I don't have enough experience. So in order to like get to the point where I can make money writing is actually not making money writing. It's making money teaching other people who want to write how to write effectively. And I can't really teach that if I haven't done it myself yet. So it's just like, oh, that's like years of grind before I can really get to that point. So writing just seems like a fiscal dead end, despite having some passion for it. But then the other problem with writing is that now we have fucking Mumkey coming in, who's way better at writing and has a book deal and is getting all that shit done. And then I guess Jesse's writing, and Jesse's a fucking genius, so he's great at writing. So it's just like, alright, this is just drawing all over again once I'm exposed to other, you know, writers. It's like, oh, well, I don't really have the chops there that I thought I did either. So that's a fucking fail. And I'm gonna stop you right there, viewer, who's thinking, Tom, you're a fucking idiot. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to other people. Because I hear that line all the time, and it fucking pisses me off. And I will tell you why that pisses me off. Because you have to, okay? In the magical fairyland of dreams and, like, magic where nothing fucking matters, of course you don't compare yourself to other people. You just sit down and you do your thing, and everything's great, and you have a good time. But unfortunately, we live on planet Earth, where everything's fucking terrible. And on planet fucking miserable shithole Rockland, okay, you have to compare yourself to other people because life is a competition. You exist to crush other people under your heel and be better than them. Everything that you gain in life is at the expense of somebody else. Every product you ever bought, everything you've ever consumed, everything you've ever, you know, watched or read or done was at the expense of someone else's time, money, and effort. So you have to compete. Life is competition. And the only way you can kind of like gauge where you're at with certain things is to look out into the world and understand where you fall in the hierarchy. I can sit here and draw by myself and ignore everybody else like, I'm just going to draw for me. But I'm never going to get anywhere because if I don't know where I fall and where I need to improve and where I need to get better, or just like be like, hey Tom, guess what? You're not cut out for this shit. You know? You're never going to know. You're never going to be able to be successful because you have to be cognizant of your comparative value in whatever you're doing. Like, I could sit here in my room and just be like, I'm gonna do fucking physics. I want to do physics, but I don't know shit about physics. So if I just sat here and was like, yeah, I'm just going to do my thing, I'd never get anywhere with it. Like, you have to look out into the world and understand where you fall in the pecking order to understand, okay, am I any good at this? Where do I need to improve? What am I doing wrong? And is this even viable? Because it's not just about being happy. It's about being happy while having enough money so you don't fucking die. When you're born into this world, your life is a burden. Okay? That's what... Oh god, I'm gonna get political. That's what capitalism is about. And I don't hate capitalism, but I definitely think that it kind of sucks that everybody who's ever been born and ever will be born until we fucking become Starfleet is instantly at risk of death, of just self-inflicted death, and that you, in order to subsist, you have to constantly be producing something of value. In a vacuum, did it again, that's kind of a good idea, like motivating people to constantly be doing something valuable. But the problem is, what you think is valuable isn't necessarily valuable. I think working on Sorcerer's Lost and writing is valuable. I find it valuable. Nobody else finds it valuable. I only find it valuable. So the things, I have to do things that have objective value, that have social value, that have social practical purposes. And that means walking around an abandoned building for 40 hours a week. I have no interest in doing that. It has no value to me in terms of like interest, but the value it provides me is currency, and it helps whoever owns the fucking building. That's the social value. It's fucking dumb. So you need to compare yourself with your skills and your talents and your interests in order to understand, will this provide value? Because drawing, people want drawings. People want art. There are people out there who patron artists. So drawing as a medium has value, has potential value. But if you're so far down the rungs of the hierarchy, and there are so many people above you, you inevitably, there's a fall off. The lower you go down the rungs, the less your talent becomes valuable, because there are people who can do it better. And if you have the choice between A and B, and A is better than B, you're going to go with A, because A is superior. So the worse you are, the less value you have in the world. So I'm at the point where it's just like, okay, my drawing is borderline valueless, because it's just so much worse than the people around me compared to the time I've put into it. And I'm hitting this kind of glass ceiling in terms of just like the amount of time it would take to become valuable in this skill is so gargantuan and so massive and such like a steep ascent to get to, that it almost becomes a worthless endeavor, because by the time it becomes valuable, I'm like 5 years dead in the streets because I haven't done anything else. It's bullshit and it sucks. So I can't draw. My videos aren't as good as anybody else's in the PCP. I don't really have any charisma or a charismatic personality that can carry anything I do. You know, right now I'm getting slowly buzzed off of my not wine, and I'm sure I sound like a raving lunatic. So what do I have to offer, right? If everything is about value, and you come here to listen to podcasts and be entertained by the people in this group because they're providing some entertainment value to you, if I'm not providing anything in that sphere, why am I here? You know, I want to earn my seat at the table, but I feel like I'm ill-equipped in terms of skill set to provide anything that isn't overlapping and underdeveloped compared to other people. I don't draw better than Ben. I don't write better than Mumkey. I don't make better videos than Digi, and I don't have a better personality than Jesse. I'm a knockoff, shittier version of everybody else. So what's the fucking point? Like, what do I provide here other than complaining? Anybody can complain. This isn't a skill. This is just an outlet for frustration. You know, my channel, Rebel Pixels, people like it because they're like, you're such a failure. I resonate with your failure, and that's why I'm attracted to some of your videos, because I can understand and sympathize with your feelings of inadequacy. If my most valuable thing is providing comfort for other failures, why the fuck would I even bother? Like, that's so fucking demoralizing. It's like, yeah, you draw, yeah, you write, yeah, you do this, but the fact that you fail the way I do is what really attracts me to you. Misery loves company, so I'm gonna hang out with you. Like, that's grounds for fucking blowing my brains out right there. Like, fuck that. Like, oh, God. So shitty. I fucking hate it. Oh, so what do I do? What do I do? I don't know what I do. What was this podcast even about? It was about not having talent. So I guess we're still semi on topic. I don't have an ego. I don't have confidence. I would like to. I think it's valuable. I don't know how to do it, but I do have ego at the same time. It's weird. I don't really know how to describe it. Maybe you guys are familiar with this in that, like, you have an ego, but it's repressed. Like, you can't express it because it makes you angry or something. I don't really know. Because, like, if I just sit down and ask myself, like, do I want to be better than all these people in the PCP? Of course I do. I think that's not rude to say. Like, why would I not want to be more successful than people around me? Again, if everything's a comparison and everything's a competition, then in order to thrive, you have to win. I want to win, clearly, because I don't want to be fucking dead. I mean, that pendulum's swinging the other way with every day, but we're still on live land right now. So if I'm going to be alive, I want to win. And I want to be the best guy, clearly. I think everybody wants to be the best guy if they're being honest with themselves. Like, who doesn't want to be the best guy? Right? Like, well, be the best you can be. Well, what if the best you can be fucking blows? What if it's like the lowest tier? That's the best you can be. Nobody wants to be the best they can be if it's fucking shitty still. Everybody wants to be the best guy. So I want to be the best guy. I want to be the best writer. I want to be the best artist. I want to be the best video maker. I want to be the best of everything. But I can't be the best of everything. I can barely be competent at anything. I don't know what I bring to the table that isn't done better by somebody else. So sometimes I just ask myself why I'm even here. Like, why bother? Like, should I just leave? Should I just let these guys do their thing and not fucking weigh them down with, like, this excess baggage of, like, yeah, we got Ben, he's a good artist. We got Mage, she's a good artist. We got Monkey, he's got a book deal going, and we got, like, all these guys doing great videos with, like, really charismatic personalities and sweet editing and really analytical points. And then Tom, well, we've known him for a while. He kind of does his thing. If I had met these guys now and not back during the horse days, none of them would give a fuck about me. And I'm so fucking aware of this, and it's not spoken, but I'm saying it now. It's so fucking obvious that the only reason I'm still here is because of the history we have. Nothing I'm doing in the moment has any value or any interest to anybody else on this fucking channel. Oh, you review graphics tablets. Who fucking cares? I barely fucking care. It was an accident that it even happened. What else do you do? Oh, you talk about how depressed you are and how creativity is hard? No fucking shit. We all know that. We're all doing it. None of them would pay Rebel Pixels any mind. They barely do now. Which I don't blame them because fuck, who cares? I barely care and I make the damn things. None of it matters. It's unimportant and it's unimpressive. I have no reason to be in this group. And I'm desperate to earn my seat again. Back in the day when we first met and we were all doing gay horse faggot shit, I earned my seat. I was the second biggest guy after Digi. And I built that from nothing. Granted, it was off the back of a fandom, which kind of invalidates all of the accomplishments. But it was mine, and I did it. And I felt like I had earned my seat there at the table of the Horseshoe Crew. I belonged. I was there for a reason. You know, I was doing something. Now I don't. I don't do anything of value. I don't do anything worth doing. And everything that I can do is done better by somebody else. We're friends. We're all friends. But we definitely are very aware of our creativity and the things that we make. And we prescribe a lot of value to ourselves and everybody else based on what they make. And I know my social currency and my social credit in this group is dwindling rapidly. Nobody wants to say it, but I can see the writing on the wall. I'm not providing anything. I just want to be good at something. I don't know what that's like. It must be nice. Maybe I'm just too fucking depressed and full of self-hatred to recognize my own skills. But again, skills in isolation don't mean anything. It has to be, you have to look out into the world and compare favorably. And even if I could come to terms with the fact that, oh, I do good things in isolation, it doesn't matter. Because in the real world, compared to other people, none of it's any good. So, I either need to get really fucking good at something, or do something new that nobody else in the group does and say, that's my thing. He's the guy who does that. And that's why he's here. Because right now, I don't do shit. And it's just only a matter of time before I just get kicked out. Because he's not doing anything. I think I already would have been kicked out if I didn't have history with these guys. I don't do anything. I'm done. This has been Hyperbolic Wine Chamber. Lots of whining today. Let me know if you want me to get a specific wine, donate in the link, and I'll get it next time.